Jamila, to start with, where did you and Rachel kind of first get introduced to the book by Andrew, and like how did this kind of all come about?
So there was a New York Times book review of his book when it came out, and Rachel read that before she read the book, and she thought it sounded like a film. So she'd actually gone to college with Andrew, and
Wow.
wrote him, and he said basically like, you're one of like 30 other people who want to turn this into a film. So it was a long courtship process to sort of earn his trust and actually get the rights to turn the book into a film.
As far as your connection with Rachel, you guys have known each other long time, Frontline, PBS work. How did you guys meet?
It's a small world of PBS documentaries. So I had worked for a filmmaker that Rachel had worked for early in her career. And when that film wrapped, she introduced me to Rachel and her husband, who own a company that at the time was quite small in Brooklyn and now is quite big. So between working with Rachel and Barrick, I think we've been together for 11, 12 years now.
I was kind of amazed at the subject matter and where Andrew goes with this book, because it's obviously one that was based on trauma to him to some extent, and him not being accepted by his own family and wanting to showcase other unique families and how people are accepted. When you guys first got hold of the material, did it become insular for you as well? Did you look at your own families or families you knew? I mean, did it become kind of an open the door type of thing that I think it has been for anyone who's read the book?
Mm-hmm. I can't speak for Rachel. I mean, Rachel's a parent and I'm not. So we had two different experiences with the material. I certainly have felt different from my family, and I'm certainly someone's child. So I think anyone who has that relationship, you often sometimes feel like, where did I come from, or where did my child come from? And this was just, I think, the story of that relationship writ large. Like these are cases that are more extreme forms of difference than you would find in the average family.
Where did you guys find the families that are in the film?
Oh, well, the casting process took a really long time. It was like a year. I would say like 25% of our work on the film was just finding the right families to feature. And there was no shortcut to that. We needed the families to not just be strong stories on their own. We needed them to sort of talk to each other, the stories to sort of communicate and work together in a weave, because there were no natural overlapping points in the stories. So we just went to different support groups, conferences, the Little People of America convention, the Down syndrome society meetings, the autism. There's conventions for all of these conditions, and having the book out in the world, and it had done so well, sort of gave us a great sort of introduction. So we had that to sort of recommend us, but it was still a long process of not just meeting people, but then, establishing the kind of trust and comfort level that they would want to have us filming in their homes and in their most intimate moments for 2 years. So it was not a short filming process at all.
Producer can be such a wide-ranging thing. You can kind of do anything on a film. What were the elements on this film that you got to tackle the most or enjoyed the most doing as part of being that producer?
I did a lot. So I was very involved in the casting. That was kind of my main first job. And then the shooting. We cast 7 families originally. So that was just a lot of being out in the field with them and keeping tabs on their lives. And so I would say the filming was like the biggest sort of the thing I did the most. And I did enjoy it. It's exhausting when you're out in the field, but it's so consuming that you enter this other world and you're just so involved in what's going on around you.
Was there a family that was cut out that you just are like, oh, I wish we had that?
There were 2, and they were both heartbreaking cuts to make. And they were both mostly fully shot. And so I still have this fantasy that we'll find a way to bring them out in the world. But yeah, there is just when people trust you and let you into their lives like that, and then you have to tell them, I'm sorry you didn't make it into the film, it's devastating.
As far as longevity for the film and potential for doing more, I think that's kind of the cool thing about this is y'all may have the chance to do more. Is that something that's exciting for you guys when you look back, now that you've done the principal shooting, that you have enough footage to do maybe TV special, maybe a docuseries on this? Like, I think the subject matter could definitely, I mean, it tugs at anyone's heart, like you said, if you're a parent or if you're a child, and that's everyone. So there's something special that you guys have connected with this film.
I think that I'm not sure that I see a life like in a series format for the stories that are in the film. I mean, certainly there's a sequel, perhaps, but I think that the film lends itself to a series for sure. And we struggled a lot when we first had the rights to the book on whether to make a feature, documentary, or a series. And ultimately, we decided that this experience of seeing it all together in one contained experience would be more powerful than watching it episodically. But now that we have that out in the world, I think we do see potential for it to be a series, and you could make that into infinity. There's so many stories out there.
What attracted you to Tallgrass and want to come here and bring the film here?
We got such a warm welcome from Tallgrass, and we had a good theatrical run, and it's opened in way more theaters than I think we expected it to. So it's done pretty well, but you don't often get the feeling of community that you get from screening it at a festival and with other filmmakers. And it's such a sweet little place like Wichita. It's very different from New York City or LA.
I noticed your star is out there, by the way.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's kind of spooky.
Like, that's not something they do for you in New York.
As far as where this film can be found and where people can watch it, because it has a run, but I'm guessing there's potential for online viewing for a lot of people. Where can people see the film?
So right now you can rent it on demand through your cable or internet provider. So we're still in some theaters, but I think we'll be finishing that up very soon, and we'll be on Hulu in December
Wow.
29th.
Very cool. And then as far as your work and what's next for you, anything down the pipeline for you, or maybe you're working again with Rachel or someone else? What's going on?
So I'm working with Rachel's husband now. We are finishing a 2-hour, well, it's not quite 2 hours, but almost, special on the Woodstock Music Festival for the American Experience series on PBS.
Like the original Woodstock?
Yeah, it's based on it's about the 1969 festival. And so we've got access to sort of really cool, never-before-seen footage and a lot of audio interviews with festival goers and the people who put the festival on. It's a fun film. It's not super heavy, which is a nice change from most things you make documentaries about.
Well, I don't want to give anything away, but is there a musician that you particularly are like, ooh, I get to showcase this?
Well, the film is about the experience of the attendees and sort of the moment that the festival grew out of. So there is an amazing concert film about the festival already. We didn't want to remake that, so our focus is a bit different. So people talk about the music a lot, and we see some of the music, but for the most part, it's about the experiences of the attendees.
That must be crazy after all these years to get back with the people who went. Wow.
Yeah, we're taxing their memories 50 years on.
Well, Jamila, thank you so much for bringing the film here, and can't wait to see its life on Hulu. I think people are really going to grasp onto it. It's a powerful movie.
Thank you so much for having me.